This was sent to me by one of the listeners, and it's an interesting piece. And yet again, it buys into the same time period of my last From Russia with Love series, of what happened from the 1880s through early 1920s. Colonel Edward Mandell House, another House of Mandell, is it? In a letter to Woodrow Wilson, the American Prime Minister at the time, President, found in Wilson's personal diary and logs. Now, House was originally from Texas, was known as the Colonel, which is interesting in the control structure. They often have the Colonel, the grandfather, and all kinds of other terms like that. And yet, Mr. House never did any military service, but was still called the Colonel. Now, Mr. House moved, no coincidence, to New York in 1902, where he was a member of the Alpha Delta Phi fraternity. Look closely into them type of fraternities, and you will see the theme of From Russia with Love 3. Anyway, the letter, quote, "Very soon every American will be required to register their biological property." That's you and your children. This was in 1913 to 1921. "In a national system designed to keep track of the people, and that will operate under the ancient system of pledging." They pledge the people to the trust. "By such methodology, we can compel people to submit to our agenda, which will affect our security as a chargeback for our fiat paper currency." In other words, the people were the collateral for the pieces of paper. "Every American will be forced to register or suffer being able to work and earn a living." Really? Now we do both. "They will be our chattels, property, and we will hold the security interest over them forever, by operation of the law merchant under the scheme of secured transactions. Americans, by unknowingly or unwittingly delivering the bills of lading certificate to us, will be rendered bankrupt and insolvent." They declared us all bankrupt and took the prize. "Secured by their pledges, they will be stripped of their rights and given a commercial value designed to make us a profit, and they will be none the wiser. For not one man in a million could ever figure out our plans, and if by accident one or two should figure it out, we have in our arsenal plausible deniability. After all, this is the only logical way to fund government, by floating liens and debts to the registrants in the form of benefits and privileges. This will inevitably reap us huge profits beyond our wildest expectations, and leave every American a contributor to this fraud, which we will call social insurance, Social Security. Without realizing it, every American will unknowingly be our servant, however begrudgingly. The people will become helpless and without any hope for their redemption, and we will employ the high office, presidency, of our dummy corporation, USA, to foment this plot against America. We're still paying for this type of skullduggery 100 years later. I told you this particular time period was the escalation and the downfall of America, big time.